Shabbat shalom again, everybody. So
Shabbat shalom.
Noni is not here tonight. She is somewhere singing Beethoven. So it's just me tonight and all of you. So let's just take a moment. I don't know if perhaps you've begun Passover preparations, maybe feeling a little stressed about Passover, but it's time to let all of that go for right now. Whatever might be on our minds or on our bodies, we want to try to put down the things that we're carrying, either metaphorically or through tension in our muscles. So if you want to take a breath, let it out. Maybe stretch or try to relax. Whatever helps you to make space inside yourself for some Shabbat peace. We are going to begin this evening on page 126 in the prayer book in the blue bracketed numbers. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach outward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Candle blessings. Does somebody want to do the blessing over the candles? Janice? Oh, let me see if I can untangle the microphone. Oh, we are on page 120 and 121. Oh, and I don't have a camera pointed at you today.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. And we turn now to the Kiddush on page 123. Is there somebody who would like to do the Kiddush in English? Maybe somebody at home on Zoom? Or somebody here? Yeah, Nathan, come on up. You'll do it in Hebrew. Excellent.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage, as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'mahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim b'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Yasher Koach, thank you. You may be seated. What a beautiful day it is today. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, page 128. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat, Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. The Baruch Hu is on page 146. I invite you, if you're able, to rise. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Page 148, I invite you to read with me. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah umitzvot, Chukim umishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu, uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו Yisrael. The Shema is on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Emet. Page 157, I invite you to read with me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha netar bakodesh norati loro sefele Nora tehilo do sefele. Malichutecha rahuvanecha. Bokei ayam lifnei Moshe. Ze Eli anu ve'amru. Ze Eli anu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar bakodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ugealo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. The tefillah begins on page 164. I invite you, if you're able, to rise. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geulah Livnei V'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח, ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You may be seated. Page 173, I invite you to read with me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175, and that's in the blue bracketed numbers at the bottom of the page. The blue numbers, 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. We have come to Modim, our blessing of gratitude, and as is our custom, we'll take a couple minutes now for people to share what they might be feeling grateful for today. So if you're on Zoom, you could put it in the chat if you wish, or share out loud, and of course in the room, you'll share out loud. So who's feeling grateful for something today? Linda Kushner-Silverman.
I'm extremely grateful I never have to take the colonoscopy ever again.
Wow. No more colonoscopies. Mazal tov.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Uh, Charlotte is grateful for signs of springtime. I was noticing that too. Freema, what about you?
I am grateful that I'll be able to go away and spend some of the holidays with my family. I'm very happy about that.
Oh,
Thank you.
good. Good. Judith.
I'm grateful that I had the second of two medical procedures today and that they both seem to have gone very well.
Good. Modima nachnu lach. We're grateful for that as well. Anne is grateful for a visit from friends from Seattle. Patricia is grateful Passover is coming. Karen is extremely grateful that she and her partner are going to be grandmas. Daughter Katie is pregnant and due in September. Sha'a tova to Katie. Eslyn is grateful for our poetry group before services on Friday nights, a time of learning and enlightening. Great. Anybody in the room feeling grateful today? Yes. Good food and family. Yes. So many things that we're grateful for today. So, page 177. I invite you to read with me, and this is in the blue numbers on your page. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Shalom Rav is on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol ha-shalom, ki atahu melech adon, lechol ha-shalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. We have come now to our quiet prayer. There are words in the prayer book in the blue bracketed numbers on pages 180 and 181. There are words on the screen if you can see the screen, but of course we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly. Iyu leratson imrefi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vegohali Vegohali. May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If you are on Zoom and you have names to add for the Misha Berach, I invite you to put them in the chat, and everyone will have an opportunity to add names out loud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing today Ira Weiss, Allison Plummer, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Joellen Fox, Alan Fremer, Valerie Pace, George Landberg, Sarah Ratliff, Kenny Schweiger, Paul Gold, Leslie Hirsch, Joan Lifshitz, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Deanna Roth, Jonathan Falkowski, Martha and Ed Vincent, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Vicky Lightnaker, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Monica Beyer, Erwin and Patty Cohen, Deborah Kosman, Jeffrey Schwimmer, Grace Schneider, Liz Yasuda, Mark and Paul Steiner, Celia Karp, Anne-Marie Rogan, Marion Mandel, Sharon Zinn, Nicole Moskowitz, Evelyn Sten, Stephen Belay, Deborah Marcus, Mike Wenzelberg, Elliot Drucker, Fred Siegel, Linda Abramowitz, Janet Dankowitz, Katie Pandolfo, Ruth Cooper, Rotem Reich, Larry Perro, Larry Dash, Maureen Dash, Carolyn Dash, Daniel Kaplan, Jesse Laban, Glenda and Marshall Greenman, Nancy Weintraub, Delphine Wolf, and Suzanne Belay. Franny Rothkin, Stacy and David Mauser, Hannah Paynes, Arlene Kakulis, Judith Weiss, Daryl Spence, Augustine Davis, Damian Colon, Jerome Taylor, Ed Robinson, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Jimmy Jenkins, Chanel Kamabach, Juliette Dale, Maureen Dale, Elena RM, Warren Feliz, Sylvia Silva, DeAndre Wynn, Jennifer Magoob, Sarah West, Tamia Bethia Williams, Joy Ojan, Merle Paisley, Gabe Duplessis. Freema?
Diana Gonzalez, Richard Curlin, Martin Bennett, Phyllis O'Neill, Arlene and Stephen Schneier, Stacy Schneier, Elliot Drucker, Hassan Demir.
Linda Kushner Silverman?
Jackson and Tara Kushner, Carol and Stevie Doppelt, Shelley Samet, David Gershon, Millie and Israel Yashami. Thank you.
Pat Flood, Roz Nadell, Kathy Sundby, Ann Kelly, Nancy Kelly, Amy Langer, George Ridler, Cindy Rabinowitz, and Dr. Craig Rosenbaum, and Karen Kramer, who had a fall and has a shiner but no real damage. Alan Rose, Pat Rose, Carol Rose. If you're in the room and you have names to add, I invite you to rise or raise your hand. Alan? Janice? We include all of those suffering from COVID-19, those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been harmed in various kinds of disasters, including wars and conflicts, terrorism, gun violence, natural disasters as well, including recent tornadoes and so many things. Gail Sudman and Deanna Roth as well. Page 371 in the blue numbers is where the Misha Berach is, in the middle of the page. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So I want to invite you to look up above the ark. Do you see that light, the red one? You know what that is, right? Yeah? Can you see that, folks on Zoom? It's on the screen. You see the red light up there? Yeah. So that's our eternal flame, or our fairly long-lasting light bulb. Most synagogues have one, and it's always on, except for the few times I've come in and found that it has burned out, and then I have to ask Jean to put a new light bulb in. There are two places in the Torah that talk about having an eternal flame in the sanctuary. The one we refer to most commonly as the source that our light represents is in Parshat Tetzaveh, which begins with God telling Moses to tell the people of Israel to provide pure olive oil for a lamp that is to burn continually, a ner tamid, an eternal light. The other place in the Torah that talks about an eternal flame is this week's Torah portion. We read, "Command Aaron and his sons thus. This is the ritual of the burnt offering. The burnt offering itself shall remain where it is burned upon the altar all night until morning, while the fire on the altar is kept going on it." And a few verses later, "The fire on the altar shall be kept burning, not to go out. Every morning the priest shall feed wood to it, lay out the burnt offering on it, and turn into smoke the fat parts of the offerings of well-being. A perpetual fire shall be kept burning on the altar, not to go out." So here it's not called a ner tamid, but an esh tamid, an eternal fire. Through our tradition, we learn that these eternal flames are symbols of God's presence with us in our sanctuaries. And perhaps they are meant to remind us of the pillar of flame that by night, and the pillar of cloud by day that led the Israelites out of Egypt and through the wilderness, part of the story that many of us are going to be telling at Seder tables next week. For hundreds of years, assuming that the Jews followed this instruction, a fire burned continually, first in the tabernacle and then in the first temple. When the first temple was destroyed in 586 BCE, the flame must have gone out. The second temple was built in about 516 BCE, although some say as late as 350. We'll go with 516 just for the sake of argument. And presumably at that time, the fire was rekindled. In the Hanukkah story, the temple was desecrated by the Syrian Greeks in the 2nd century BCE. And again, the fire was put out. I expect that you're familiar with the miracle story, that when the Jews recovered the temple and rededicated it, they wanted to relight the eternal flame, but they could only find one container, one night's worth of pure oil. The oil lasted for 8 nights, long enough to purify more oil, a miracle. But there was another innovation that came out of that event, a kind of miracle also. In observance of Hanukkah, Jews began to light candles or lamps in Hanukkiyot in their homes. The symbol of God's presence no longer belonged only in the temple, but God could be present in every home that was celebrating Hanukkah. The Hanukkah candles, even though we light them each night of Hanukkah and let them burn down until they do go out, to me, they're a little more of an accurate or effective evocation of the eternal flame in the sanctuary than our little red light. Because it's not quite accurate to call a Ner Tamid or an Eish Tamid an eternal light or an eternal flame. A better translation of Tamid is continual or perpetual, just close to eternal, but not quite exactly the same. Because a fire, in order to burn perpetually or continually, needs attention. The continual fire in the altar had to be fed periodically with wood. Oil needs to be added to an oil lamp for it to keep burning. Flames also need to be attended in order to make sure they remain safe, that nothing starts to burn that shouldn't be burning. I remember I think it was one of the Hadassah women's seders, when there were candles on all of the tables and also paper napkins. We had a little fire on one of the tables. It was quickly quelled. When we light Hanukkah candles or Shabbat candles in our homes, it's important that we stay in the room and keep an eye on them, lest a larger fire start. And we know that there are more house fires in the wintertime during Hanukkah and also at Christmas time when people have more candles lit in their homes. Our electric Ner Tamid doesn't need or command our attention. How often do you actually even notice it? I'll leave that as a rhetorical question. The presence of God, though, can work in both of these ways. In the Torah, after our patriarch Jacob runs away from home to escape the wrath of his brother Esau, he falls asleep and he dreams of angels on a ladder and God promising to take care of him. And when he wakes up, he exclaims, God is in this place and I didn't know it. God's presence, like our little red Ner Tamid, can be with us even when we aren't thinking about it and don't notice it. Other times, we're conscious of trying to cultivate the presence of the divine, and we do pay attention, like when we light candles and tend to them. We also talk about a spark or a flame that resides within ourselves. In Yiddish, the phrase pintel yid refers to that spark of a Jewish soul that resides in every Jew according to Hasidic mysticism. And they say that every person who chooses to convert to Judaism must have that spark of a Jewish soul inside them because that is what draws them to Judaism. Okay. We might think of that spark as God's presence inside of us, or our connection to Judaism and Jewish tradition. But for that flame inside of us to keep burning, it does need tending through Jewish community, Jewish practice, Jewish learning. As we prepare to go from slavery to freedom around our Seder tables next week, may our celebration of Passover Help the spark inside us grow brighter and stronger. May we be inspired to appreciate and grow our relationship to our Judaism. Amen and Shabbat Shalom. We are going to turn now to the Aleinu. It begins on page 586 at the top of the page. And I invite you, if you're able, to rise. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I have shared our yahrzeit list to the screen. Those of you who are here in person have that list in your lime green bulletin. If you're on Zoom and you have names to add for anyone for whom you're saying the Mourner's Kaddish this evening, you're welcome to put them in the chat, but also everyone will have an opportunity to add names out loud. We remember those who have died in the past year. Roz Spicer, Lila Fox, Burley Pelmont Jorgrau, Zelda Klein, Dr. Usha Gorty, Elliot Woofsey, Carol Davis, Jerry Prezioso, Charles Dentrone, Murray Schechter, John Honan, Dottie Weiss Tobickman, Harold Shepard Jr., Eva Braxmajor, Madeline Hyatt, Ed Friedman, Ronald Homan, Erwin Bernstein, Shirley Amrani, Harry Goldberg, Lisa Friedman, Eleanor Teplitz, Patricia Christensen, Thea Platt Glasser, Sharon Cooper, William Fritz, Bernard Cohen, Lucy Palazzolo, Blair Ford, Shlomo Nakash, Arlene Scher, Abraham Finkel, Ron Cricky, Mimi Karp, Rochelle Rolnick, Elaine Drucker, Matthew Brunner, Maddie Rosenbaum, Myron Jacobson, Lester Schenker. And this week is the first yahrzeit of John Belay. Included also on our yahrzeit list are Sandy Cannon Abel, a friend of Sam Silverman, Doris Bass, mother of Robin Bass, Charles Davis, father of Mona Goldberg, Lawrence U. Friedlander, brother-in-law of Natalie Friedlander, Arlind Gass, grandfather of Mary Lou Cricky, Siegbert Greenbaum, husband of Madeline Greenbaum, Esther Zegaloff, friend of Tamara Kerner, Erwin Siegel, father of Simeon Siegel, Millie Sharkey, mother of Deborah Kosman, Kenneth Sharkey, brother of Deborah Kosman, Gertrude Silverberg, grandmother of Yvette Pomerantz, Shirley Troyer, aunt of Martin Murowitz, Luby Wax, sister of Milton Platt, Adele Wellman, great aunt of Judith Weiss, Louis Mencken, grandfather of Judith Weiss, Frank Rose, grandfather of Michael Rose, Jessica Baukol, remembered by Nadine Antipol, and Ellen Hoyt, remembered by Jessica Schulman. Although I think actually Ellen Hoyt is a recent death and not a yahrzeit.
Ellen Hoyt passed away this week, and her funeral is on Sunday, actually.
Oh, okay. I think that Alice mistakenly thought she was to be added to the yahrzeit list rather than the recent deaths. Let's see. Belle Radum, Pat Schroeder, Beverly Hudson, George Politis, Paul Markowitz, those children and adults who were shot in Tennessee, David Haley Goldbrenner, Dottie Samet. If you're in the room and you have names to add, I invite you to rise or raise your hand. Alan? Anyone else on Zoom have names to add? Okay. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598 in the blue numbers. We include also all of those who have died from COVID-19 and those who have died from other causes, whether it be war or famine, gun violence, terrorism, or natural disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. Page 598 in the blue numbers. I invite you to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, amen. You may be seated. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. A few announcements before we conclude. Let's see what we got. Tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. is religious school. There will not be B'yachad tomorrow because at 10 o'clock we're going to be doing religious school class sharing. So actually the bulletin is wrong. but the links email was right. So everybody is invited to come to the sanctuary for the class sharings, but that's not going to be on Zoom. What will be on Zoom is services at 11 a.m., and of course, that will also be in person. At 1 o'clock tomorrow, after services from 1 to 4, is portable crafts group. So if you have any kind of craft that you do that is portable, as in you can bring it with you to the synagogue, you are welcome to come, and we all just sit around and we do our crafts and we chit chat, and it's very lovely. You can bring your lunch, you can bring snacks for to share, you can bring a friend. It's a sweet time. On Sunday, April 2nd, there is a Jewish cultural event at the New York Historical Society. Contact Helene Smith or Yvette Pomerantz if you are interested in attending. Monday is Gentle Chair Yoga and Gentle Qigong with Gail Levine-Fried and Bob Fried at 4 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up on Eventbrite. We will have a festival morning Passover service for the first day of Passover on Thursday, April 6th at 10:30 a.m. That will be in person and on Zoom. And as you might imagine, there will be no Torah study or Israeli dance that day, as it is the first day of Passover and then the second night of Passover. There will also be no confirmation class. There will be Tot Shabbat on Friday at 10 a.m. if you know any Tots. There will be no religious school on Saturday, April 8th or April 15th because of the Passover and spring break. However, there will be Shabbat services and there will be B'yachad on both of those days. It's not on here, but we do have a second night community Seder. It's probably not on here because it is just about full. So if you want to go to the second night Seder, community Seder, call Alice on Monday and she will let you know if there's any space left. We already have like upwards of 50 people coming and capacity is 55. So very exciting. We're very excited. If you don't manage to go to that, perhaps you'd like to go to the seventh night dessert Seder, where you can have dessert and a Seder. It's focused on the experience of women, and everybody is invited to come. You don't have to be a woman. You can be, but you don't have to be. There's flyers with information and RSVP in the lobby. Also, I'm pretty sure information has been emailed. It's $18 per person. Payments and reservation forms are to be sent directly to Mona Goldberg at her address, which is in the directory if you are not here to have the lime green bulletin. Coming up, we also have a Passover food drive. There's a box over there that already has quite a lot of stuff in it. So bring non-perishables to Beshert to help Our Lady of Refuge, or make monetary donations to Mark's JCH. If you want to pay by check, you can make it payable to Mark's JCH, but then send it to the temple office and we'll collect them and send them over. We'd like to know what donations come from us. So the food drive is going to run through April 10th. There's a fundraising event at 3 p.m. on May 20th. The Regina Opera Company is presenting The Student Prince. A link was sent out to register for that. And finally, save the date for our gala luncheon honoring past and present treasurers Helene Smith and Jennifer Tattenbaum, who richly deserve to be honored due to the very, very difficult job of being treasurer that they have both done. That's going to be at 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, June 11th at Gargiulo's, which is also a very nice place to eat. Reservation forms and journal ad forms have been emailed to you numerous times, and there's paper copies in the lobby. Anything else? Anything I forgot or didn't have on the list? Thank you to Janice and to Nathan for doing the honors today. And I think that's it. All right. If you're able, I invite you to rise. Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. And before we go to the oneg, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.